next one we have is Gladys Bentley. Does anyone know who she is?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna take that as a no.
I don't know a lot of the gays.
This is true, Alex. So she was an American blues singer, pianist, and entertainer, and like during specifically the Harlem Renaissance. But she was known to dress in men's clothes and flirted with women while she sang. Like she would specifically sing and then flirt with people in the audience. Like she was very well known for this. And she was apparently publicly married to a woman in 1931. But then she kind of went against that, and I believe she said like she blamed it on medication she was on, that like she had these feelings towards women, so she blamed it on medication. And then she ended up later marrying a man named Charles Robert, but it ended within like a few months, so it didn't last very long. So but she was like, she always, like, especially pictures I've looked up to her of her, they're always like, she's always dressed in like a top hat, like very dapper, like suits and whatnot. But she can easily be considered like one of like the first individuals who like always like dressed in like male clothes and stuff like
I'm
that.
into it. I'm super into it.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. I think she probably had
just in the time that she like caved at one point, was like, no, I'm not actually gay.
Yeah, it was probably during a
Like,
time period.
With a lot of the ones in the past, I'm sure there was some like societal pressure to hide it, or like.
Apparently, it was during the McCarthy era. So does anyone know who McCarthy was during, you know, the
like McCarthyism?
What? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So she, like, started during that era, she started wearing dresses. So she completely changed her wardrobe, and then she claimed to have been cured by female hormones. So she probably just didn't want to be completely outed and completely disgraced to the society.
Weren't they like targeting Hollywood specifically during McCarthyism?
Pretty much, yeah, or people who they thought were associated with communism, which could have meant anyone who went against their beliefs.
Yeah, but wasn't it a huge like part of it that they're specifically going after celebrities? Like, didn't they?
Yeah, there were a few, I think, producers, or I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to say, but I think there were a few producers, like male producers and directors, who were actually targeted, and like they completely ruined their lives because of it.
Yeah, so that's something I could easily see, because of the period, you just faking it for your career and everything, so you don't completely like fall under, and can do that maybe in private.
I feel so bad for people during
yeah
that
I know,
era.
like that sucks that you even would have to do that, but I can understand why they would in a time period like that.
Yeah. Does anyone know Mercedes de Acosta?
Mercedes-Benz?
This is another one where I know the name, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Okay, so she was obviously, as stated here, she was known for being a poet, playwright, novelist, and having numerous open relationships with women. She was born in New York City on March 1st, 1892, but she was connected with Greta Garbo. She's easily, I think, known as one of the main Swedish actor, or like one of the most well-known, I think it's either Norwegian or Swedish actresses, like, to come out from there. What was that?
Greta Garbo you're talking about?
Greta Garbo, yeah. Besides Ingrid Bergman, I think she's one of the most well-known Scandinavian actresses from that time period. I think she was from Sweden, if not Norway. And then Marlene Dietrich, Alla Nazimova, who we previously discussed. What?
The way he phrased that was funny. She's from Sweden, if not Norway.
Yeah, one of them. They're right next to each other. And I mean, I'm Swedish and Norwegian, so it's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and she was connected to a lot of other actresses from that time period.
Connected, air quotes connected?
Air quotes connected.
Okay.
So, like, apparently she had...
Actually connected by the bodies.
Yeah, I mean, however you want to describe it, but it probably happened in a sexual manner. But I know that they've found so apparently she once stated, I can get any woman away from any man. So that pretty much just perfectly describes who she was, and I really want to be her.
Walking to the bathroom's hard.
Alex, are you okay?
Are you alright?
No, I'm good.
Her most well-known romance or friendship, as in like quotations around friendship, were with Greta Garbo, as I said before. But like there are so many different things about this relationship where it's like Greta Garbo wrote her 181 letters throughout her life, and it's like that's kind of crazy. And like they've documented like different things about their relationship where it's like it sounds very lesbian, if that makes any sense. Where like they documented like different things where they were like sporadically apart for different lengths of time, but then they would get back together as friends.
Friends.
Exactly.
Friends.
Air quote / McCocken up friends.
Yeah, because apparently Greta Garbo was annoyed.
I doesn't say friends anywhere on the PowerPoint. I was gonna put air quotes around it.
Like every gay has that friendship in middle or high school where no, literally, where like you keep getting like friends with this person. Are we friends? Are we not? The drama, and then sometimes, not always, but usually, there's like a big dramatic fight at the end. Oh, a breakup for the ages, but they were friends.
Yeah, apparently, like, it can't be proved that they were actually in a relationship, but Acosta says that they were, like, in a relationship. So, like,
Or just like friends that make out while drunk while your other two friends, while you're trying to hook up your other two friends.
Hey, I feel like that was a targeted comment, Alex.
On to the next one.
It was a specific joke.
Does anyone know who Barbara Giddings is?
Is this the one that they call the mother of pride?
Absolutely.
She was definitely bisexual from what I'm aware.
I didn't read that, but what was really weird is that I actually texted Alex during this, and I just found out about her like a few days ago. But when I found out about her, I actually found out that her partner died like that same day that I was looking her up. Like I literally like looked her up. Like I found it on an article, her name. I looked her
It was
up
a little
and then
freaky.
like what was that?
I said it was a little freaky.
Yeah, it was really weird. I found her in an article of like people you should know who are LGBT and like who like helped the cause. I looked her up and literally her partner comes up and like an hour before they said, "Oh, she died." And I'm like,
Oh, like not the anniversary of her death? Like literally that day she died?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just literally learned about her like 2 days ago and she died like 2 days ago. Like her partner. But her partner since 1961 was named Kay Lawson, and she like they were together up until Barbara's death, which was pretty recently. It was actually in 2007, but she was known as the mother of the LGBT civil rights movement, and she was an activist actually in the 1950s. So she was very way before even the Stonewall riots existed, which was in I think 1968, 1969. And like she worked pretty primarily in like the librarian or like the actual libraries, and she worked to make info about lesbians and like or info about lesbians and gay men available in libraries. So she actually did a huge part with that, and also just with everything else that she was connected with. I don't know much about her, but what I've read so far is she's crazy, and I don't understand how I didn't know about her before. But yeah. And then that's them back in like either the 50s, 60s, or 70s. I'm not 100% sure.
That's the match with me, but I don't know which one I would be. I guess Fab. So cute.
Yeah, but these are the bad. I feel bad that they're both gone now, but it's like at least they're together. You know,
I said
hopefully.
bitch instead of butch for a little bit.
Oh my
I
god.
realized it said butch. I really
Should
thought it
be.
said bitch for a little bit.
Every relationship has the femme and the bitch.
Oh,
I think it's the way her bag is. It looks like an eye for a while.
she's not who I was thinking of when I said that she was bi. The mother of the Pride parades specifically is a different person.
Okay, yeah, this one was known for like being the mother of like the actual LGBT movement itself because she was like outspoken even in the 50s before like the actual movement really took hold in the late 1960s, early 70s because of Stonewall
Yeah,
riots.
the person I was thinking of was an activist later in like the 80s when the first Pride parades started, but they also called her mother, so I was confused.
Who are you talking about?
Brenda something?
Okay,
Brenda-
she's not in this.
Hold on, Brenda Howard? Is that it? Yeah, Brenda Howard is the mother of Pride. She like helped start the first Pride parades. She was like explicitly.
Jesus, Lorraine.
Okay.
That's who I thought you were talking about, just because you said mother and it was like some name that started with a B.
Yeah, no, I actually didn't put her in this. There's another like I feel like I should do another presentation on people who are out because there's so many people who I didn't touch upon and I want to touch upon them, but it's just so hard to fit it within like 20 slides.
Were these people not out?
What was that?
Were like some, or like no, some of these people were out, some of them weren't, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, especially in the ancient times, like Sappho and a bunch of others, like they technically weren't out, you could say, but you could tell from like, I mean, I feel like Anne Lister, you would never known she would have been a
Yeah.
lesbian unless she specifically wrote it in her diary. You know, like you would have never known.
In a secret code.
Exactly.
So my brain saw this and was like Guardians of the Galaxy, but then saw the gay, so my brain was like Guardians of the Gay.
Ooh,
Yeah, so this is Stormy De La Vie. I'm
That's
hoping I'm saying that name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But she was actually rumored to be the first person who threw the first punch at Stonewall riots. She said,
Oh, first punch.
yeah, so she said she was. No one knows for sure, but I mean, I'm gonna take her account on it and say that she was. But she's also been said to be like the guardian of the lesbians in the village and like the gay community's Rosa Parks because you know she started, or at least she thinks she started all of this. But I mean, I'm gonna take her word on it. And
whoa. Kelsey and I have an issue here because we both know that Marsha P. Johnson and
So that's why I clarified when she said through the first punch.
yeah,
because
I can tell.
Martha P. Johnson threw the first brick at Stonewall.
Yeah, first fucking like bottle or brick or whatever. And yeah, I would hesitate to say that this lady started it. I think a couple black trans ladies started it, but I'm sure Karen helped, you know?
well, she was African American. This woman.
Oh,
It's just interesting that she rumored, like, did she start the rumors that she sparked Stonewall? Because
sorry, I couldn't.
It's not like she started Stonewall. She said that she threw the first punch at Stonewall.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So the riots, I think, started, or at least the police came in, and she threw the first punch at least the police or someone. So she said she threw the first punch at Stonewall. So
But that could be true. It could have been the other woman who threw the first brick and she threw the
yeah,
punch.
she was the first person to make direct contact. It might have just been two different parts of the riot.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it was
hard to
all like the
debate it.
beginnings of the like the first riot.
Yeah, it can obviously be debated. Obviously, no one really knows because it wasn't caught on camera, but she says she was the first woman or person to throw the first punch at Stonewall. And Stonewall was a huge thing, you know, because it was started, you know, way back in 1969. It really started a huge movement for LGBT individuals. But like she was a singer, she was a master of ceremonies, aka the MCs. she was a bouncer, bodyguard, cross-dresser. She was everything, really. And it goes on from there. But yeah, like that's what I pretty much know about her. I definitely need to look more into her, but I found her and I was like, damn, she's actually pretty cool.
I like how Leah was like, Kelsey and I know.
Also, I thought she was white and she was like trying to co-opt it. Now that I know she's black, I'm less mad that she was trying to be like, oh, I'm so it's a big deal. That's okay.
Yeah, no, she was born in New Orleans. I'm pretty sure she was African American.
No, I can see it now, and the last name and the cool first name, and I
She
see.
was actually half. She was her mother was white and her her mother was African American and her father was white.
Yeah,
That's interesting for the 20s.
for real.
That's really interesting for the
Must have gotten
20s.
so much shit. Oh my.
She was born in 1920s, so they had an
No,
interracial
people still
relationship.
get shit for that.
Yep.
So like, oh my.
I don't know the makeup of her parents or whatever, or what relationship they were in, but she was half and half, or half and half, I should say, or like just like half African and then half white.
But was she bisexual? Because that would have been ironic.
I don't know that, and I can't confirm that. I'm pretty sure.
It's still kind of funny that she was like biracial at the time and then turned out to be LGBT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy for being born in 1920. That's like really crazy.
So the next one we have is Audrey Lord. Do you guys know her?
Oh wait, I'm sorry, but one more question. Do you know if the mom or the dad was black? I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure the mother was black, and then the father was white. For what's her name, Stormy?
That's what I would have expected. Okay, I'm so sorry. The next girl is cool too.
So the next woman is Audrey Lord. She was born on February 18th, 1934, and she died on November 17th, 1992. She was known primarily as an American feminist, poet, writer, civil rights activist, and also librarian. I don't know what is with specifically with gay women and attaching themselves to libraries, but I'm not surprised.
Attaching themselves.
Yeah, but she described herself as a Black lesbian mother, writer, warrior and poet. But her one book, Cables to Rage, which was published in 1970, it was like the first expressions of her lesbianism. And it was like really, I think it was controversial at the time. I'm not 100% sure. But like primarily her poems focused on her own outrage, like at injustices that were going on, especially during that time period, and like even included in this time period as well. But like she focused it on LGBT issues as well as African American issues as well, because they kind of overlap in a sense, but not completely. But she also focused on feminism, illness, and disability, and the exploration of Black female identity.
Oh yeah, intersectionality is so important. Fuck, oh my gosh.
You're so #woke, Leah.
No, but I'm not even kidding. I'm never speaking again. That was my TED talk.
I mean, she addressed like injustices for racism, sexism, classism, heterosexualism, like homophobia, and like capitalism, and a bunch of other stuff as well. But like that's what she was known for, at least. And I'm not gonna say I know a lot about her because I don't. Like I found her like in my research, and I was like, shit, she's actually pretty cool, and I need to look into her.
Cables to Rage is a title, and like something about that, it just feels so gay to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think she has a bunch of other writings as well, but that was one of her first, if not her first, where she discussed her lesbianism. So that's pretty kind of cool.
My brother, like not in a mean way, but just like he knows I'm bi. He comes to my room and he always goes, "Hey, how's the lesbian hour?"
There was one TikTok of a guy talking about a graph with 3 axes, where one axis is gay or is homophobic. The other axis is feels gay or feels homophobic, and then the third axis is makes me feel gay versus me feel homophobic. So like is
Yeah,
one
I came from that because that's been a trend of like what feels gay and homophobic.
like his one example was Ariana Grande's brother is gay and feels gay but makes me feel homophobic.
Like the trend of gay people saying they're homophobic is so funny to me.
Miss Windsor is actually our next person. She's in the green jacket. Kelsey, do you know about her?
I know the name. I like vaguely know it was some LGBT activist person. I don't know any details.
So she's been pretty big, especially in the past like 10, 15 years. But she was born in 1929 and she was nicknamed Edie. But her huge thing was that she met Thea Spire, who is also in this picture, is to the left of her. She met Thea in 1963. They began dating in 1965, and they actually, since they couldn't marry in the United States, they actually married in Toronto, Canada in 2007.
Oh yeah.
So, upon Spire's death on February 5th, 2009, she became the executor and sole beneficiary of Spire's estate through like a trust. I don't know a specific trust it is. I just know that she became like a huge she became like a person who was supposed to take over her will and stuff like that. But she was required to pay like a shit ton of taxes through her wife's estate because she was considered like I think during the 90s they weren't like wives, I should say, like they became fuck. So like they were married in another country, I don't know, but like I think it was the whole issue was that like in the United States they weren't she wasn't um considered, or like she wasn't allowed to get her wife's assets. So um like federal law recognized the validity of their marriage, but she could not qualify for the unlimited spousal deduction, and like she couldn't pay federal estate tax. Like so, she paid no to like pay federal estate taxes. So she actually had to pay the taxes, but she fought against this, and this was the United States versus Windsor, and I believe she actually won. I don't know 100% about this, but I know like she's huge into LGBT issues and stuff like that. She won this, but she's also publicly participated in LGBT marches. I think it was either right before or right after Stonewall was an issue. Like they actually saw the Stonewall riots happen. So her and Edith and Thea were, I don't believe they participated in Stonewall, but they saw it happen. But ever since then, they actually participated in like marches, events, and organizations like throughout their lives. And Windsor like really carried it on after Thea's death.
I'm trying to find out how much alcohol's in that margarita thing I had.
Alex, you're like so far gone.
She's out there.
No, I told you I was feeling it.
Yeah, I know you're feeling it.
Are you feeling it, Mr. Krabs?
I mean, I'm still like coherent enough.
My honorable mentions list.
2 honorable mention slides tonight.
Yep. So these people, I think I'm going to talk about in another like actual presentation. But like Emily Dickinson.
We all know she's a lesbian.
Who?
Emily Dickinson.
Yeah.
I've heard about her
Susan B.
before.
Anthony.
I didn't know Susan B. Anthony.
Yeah, this one is, I was actually going to have a slide for her, but I ended up replacing her. But it's more like because it's not really confirmed. Whereas like Eleanor Roosevelt is actually, there is actual letters between her and the other woman saying like I love you and stuff like that. Whereas this is kind of just like up in the air. It's not 100% confirmed, but it's believed that she was actually a lesbian because she never married anyone. She had a strong connection with one of her good friends, so it's kind of believed to be that she could have had a relationship with this person. But yeah, so I might talk about her in another presentation. But Jane Addams, I believe she was, she actually got a Nobel Peace Prize. American settlement activist, reformer, social worker, sociologist, public administrator, and author. And she's actually the one depicted on the left-hand side, but the lowest one. So she's pretty cool, and she won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1931. And then, of course, you have Gwen Frangicone Davies.
What is that last name? The first half specifically, like
Frankenstein?
Frankenstein. The double F is part of what's throwing me off.
Well, she's British.
You gotta go like for Frank, for Franken.
Double F is British.
Maybe the first F is silent, or maybe both of the F's are silent. So it's
for
like,
Franken.
or maybe it's Rancon.
For Francon.
For Francon. So we're just gonna call her that. She was actually a Dane.
I just made that pronunciation up, but I'm glad we're sticking with it.
Yeah, so she's named for Francon, but she's from a Welsh family, but she was born in London. Her stage debut was in 1911. She was an actress and a sanitarian. So she died in 1992 at the age of 101. Honestly, good for her. Oh, so we also have Ellen DeGeneres. I know there's a huge issue with her recently, specifically with her.
Controversial one.
Yeah, but you know what? She did a lot, especially like in the 90s coming out. So I'm just like, you know what? Put her on here. You know, people can eat us alive, whatever. And then the next one is
Well, you're
Del Martin.
also stating that, but like she did a lot, but she's problematic now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a lot of people will come out against her. You know, it is what it is, but she's done a lot. But
One of those people who got rich enough to forget where they came from.
yeah, whatever. So you got Del Martin and Phyllis Liam, something like that. So Phyllis was actually she died last year. She died on April 9th, 2020. I don't know why she died. I'm hoping it's not because of COVID. But they were actually American lesbian couple known as feminist and gay rights activists. But they were I don't really know why they were most well known. I didn't really research into them, but I know that they were married on February 12th, 2004, and they were the first same-sex marriage to take place in San Francisco. And they've been together since like the 52 or like early, like very early on in the 50s. Then you got Barbara Jordan. She was an American lawyer, educator, and politician. Like many people didn't know about her until I think her death, when it was actually listed in her obituary, if I'm not mistaken, that she was actually with a woman for about 20-30 years, and her name was Nancy Earle. And then Sonya Deville. Does anyone know who Sonya Deville is? She's, I think, the first female wrestler in the WWE who has come out as lesbian, but she was kind of outed. Just like a weird thing where she was on this TV show. It was kind of before the WWE, where they kind of go on, I think it's called NXT, where it's like a step before you go on WWE and become a superstar. And the people who were higher up, or very higher, like people who organize it, they asked her, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend?" And it was literally on live TV or something like that. And then she didn't know what to say. So she said, "Yeah, I have a girlfriend." So she was outed that way. And I feel so bad for her for that. But, you know, from what I've read online, is that she's actually doing really well in her life. And I'm so proud of her for that. But yeah, I wanted to put her on here. And I think she's the only one who's actually still living who's on this.
Well, Ellen.
But yeah, besides
Oh.
Ellen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
so
you include Ellen, then yes. Otherwise, no.
Well, yeah. So those are the only two that are still living. I wanted to bring, this is my last slide. I wanted to bring this up. I mean, I could take this out of the actual
What?
presentation itself.
What?
Yeah, this is like kind of like a mind fuck because I wanted to kind of debate this with you guys. Do you
I
guys
feel-
know who Katherine Hepburn is?
Yes.
Who is she?
Well,
Kelsey?
I know Audrey Hepburn.
Sister. Can't you
No.
I thought she was her daughter.
Oh, related. Can't you tell?
Mother? Was she her mother? Weren't they
No,
mother?
Katherine Hepburn is not related to Audrey Hepburn.
What?
Yeah.
Why do they actually
Whoa.
look identical though?
Yeah, they like look the same too.
Yeah, they're from actually two different families.
Well, they were both famous actresses. I know that much about them.
Yeah, Katherine Hepburn, I think, is American, whereas Audrey Hepburn, I think, is British. I'm not 100% sure, but she's like from a different country altogether.
What?
So I actually wanted to debate this with you guys because it's still like this is one of the people that I love, absolutely love, but I'm not 100% sure about like her sexuality and stuff because it's kind of been debated over the years. Like people have come out and said like, yeah, she's this way, and then other people have said no, she's like that. But she was born in 1907 on May 12th. She's an American actress who starred in numerous films, television shows, and theater shows. Her family was actually pretty wealthy, and she's known as Hollywood's leading lady. She actually won 4 Academy Awards for Best Actress. So she's the only person to ever actually get that or like be known for this, because I think Meryl Streep and a few others, including Ingrid Bergman, have actually only acquired 3 Academy Awards for Best Actress. She's the only one who's acquired 4. But she's been rumored to be a lesbian or bisexual since the 1930s. And she,
Are those like mean Hollywood rumors trying to slander her though?
the thing though is that people during that era, like people who knew her, like she was connected to 1 or 2 people who were in this like presentation. Like one of the people, I think it was the female director during the 1920s to the 1940s. I'm blanking on her name right now, but she started her career, and there was a few other people during that era who've said like no, she was like a lesbian, like a few other things. I gotta look it up real quick. Hold on.
Like, didn't you say one of them was like her best friend who after she died was like, no, like she was a lesbian?
Yeah, I don't have it specifically written down. I wish I did for this thing. But she was well known to be married to Spencer Tracy. I don't know the guy's name, but he actually wrote a book. I think he died recently, maybe like last year or something. He came out and said he was well known for putting together people who were not out during Hollywood's golden era, and like he put them together. Like he was very well known for being kind of like the former like Tinder date, like how you would go to one person and they would kind of put you together, but he did it for people who were not out, like individuals who were gay, bisexual, lesbian. Apparently he put them together and he said that they were actually gay, lesbian, like they were both gay and lesbian, and they were just kind of like a marriage to kind of hide that, like they were both each other's beards. And then this is kind of just like I've read it, I can't find it, but someone I think in her family or someone else who knew her said like after the rumors became prominent after her death, they said like no, she was actually straight, like I don't know what you're talking about. And then a very good friend of hers actually said no, like she was actually a lesbian, like, and here are the like different times I've seen her or talked about it with her. So it's very debatable. But another thing I loved about her is that she was such a rebel. She constantly wore pants when in a time period it was not acceptable. And she became such an icon for this. And like I know there was another woman who wore pants on TV and stuff like that. But actually in this one image of her, in the right hand corner, I believe she played a woman who became a man. Okay, so she dressed as a boy in the movie Sylvia Scarlett, I don't know much about it, but she plays a pretty convincing guy. And she was like totally well known for this kind of stuff. So what do you guys have to say about it?
I have very conflicting ideas about like speculating on things like this. Because on the one hand, it's like so important to know that gay people existed all throughout history. And on the other hand, it's like they were real people and like isn't it rude to kind of to like speculate on other people's
Dead.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's why I wanted to put her in like as a last thing where we can just like kind of just put it off. You know, we could just take it out. But
It's also a weird one because there's people who knew her who both said like she's not gay and she is gay.
yeah,
And like I don't know. It's like I feel like it's one of those things where like people talk about it all the time because people don't treat celebrities like humans and like she was a real person who lived at a time that she probably wouldn't have wanted everybody talking about when she like
Well, yeah,
if-
like
she
that's-
was. Sorry,
that's,
Alex, did you
I was
say-
gonna say that's the thing with this too. Like obviously, like I don't want to like make a big deal about it and like speculate a ton, but like personally, if you're going by like family versus like close friend and like husband, I'm like I'd choose the people who were closer to her, believe more, who were saying she was gay, but like you can never know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, she died in 2003, but she was very well known for being very private about her life. Like, she very rarely made public appearances ever. I
Yeah,
think
she
one
probably
of
didn't
her,
want people to know, which was if she was
yeah,
probably part of it too, which is also why I question if we should speculate as well.
I think one of one of her first public appearances at an award show, she actually joked about her because she was known for being kind of, I don't want to say dismissive, but she was known for not showing up for certain things or being just very not open to the public. And she actually joked about that at one of the first public appearances at like an award show. So she knew about it. Like she knew that she wasn't like open and honest, and a lot of people didn't like that about her. But like she was like one of the most well-known actresses of her day. Like she was the most well-known. Like she won 4 Academy Awards for like, you know, for Best Actress. There's no other actress who's actually gotten that yet. So it's crazy, but even just to think that she was actually a lesbian or bisexual was insane. Guys, we're done for the night. Thanks for joining us.
But what about myself? This has been Drunk College.
This has been Drunk College by
Can I
Alex. You can stop recording.